Have you ever broken something valuable?
Now, why are you asking this question, Jon Kay?
Well, where do I start? If you know how the art collector in Miami is feeling this morning after she accidentally knocked over a sculpture, can you imagine? This sculpture that was worth almost £35,000. Not sure what it's worth now.
Yeah, I wonder. Well, it was smashed into tiny pieces. It had been by the US pop artist Jeff Koons. Let's have a look at what it's meant. That's it.
Before.
It's a balloon dog. So it's called the Blue Dog, one of the smallest from his dog balloons collection at 16 inches tall. It's quite a lot smaller now.
Yeah. Oh. Well, at least it can be shared. Yeah, this is how it ended up looking all over the floor. It made us think this morning, have you got a story, a similar tale, hopefully not quite as dramatic or expensive as that one? If you've accidentally broken something valuable, a car, a computer, Ming vase, tell us what happened.
Yes, I'm braced for these stories, John. You've got a story to tell, I know.
I remember once being told in the department, Owen Owens in Chester.
Oh, I know it well, yes.
And racing around with my brother when I was very little, and my mum and dad said, don't run round that display.
OK.
And we ran round the display.
Go on.
I knocked over this whole display of about 200 Easter eggs, which were in mugs. So not only the chocolate, but all this pottery went all over the floor.
No.
In trouble. Do let us know this morning if you can beat that. Or
yeah, exactly.
The Koons sculpture. There's some pictures now that made people wince over the weekend. If you've ever broken...
Me particularly, I've noticed.
I've got lots of stories. But if you've ever broken something valuable, you'll now have an art collector in Miami felt after she accidentally knocked over that sculpture that was worth 35 grand. Imagine.
Yeah, the artwork, which was smashed into tiny pieces, was by the very famous US pop artist Jeff Koons. Here's what it looked like beforehand. Blue Dog. It's the smallest from his dog balloons collection at 16 inches tall. It's only 16 inches.
Smaller than that now, Sal. A lot smaller. Doesn't look like a dog either. That's how it ended up looking all over the floor. It's got you talking and giving us your stories of embarrassing breakages today.
Oh, let's have a look at this from Rob in Cardiff. I rely on a mobility scooter to get around. About a year ago, I was visiting a local shop when I turned around at the end of an aisle and my back wheel accidentally clipped a stand. I turned around to see a load of wine bottles crashing to the floor. I later found out there was about £400 worth of wine spilled.
Oh, Rob.
What a waste.
Feel your pain. Tina's got in touch. She said when we got our first dog, a Doberman called Raffles, we had two beautiful vases strategically placed either side of the fireplace.
Mistake number one.
Guess what happened next? One morning we got up early to let the dog out, went back to bed. Next minute we heard a smash. The dog had carefully placed his mouth around one of the vases, pulled it off the shelf and dropped it onto the slate floor.
Ooh.
A couple of years later we took the remaining vase to an antique dealer. He said that was worth 50 quid, but if they'd had the pair, they would have been worth £400 together.
My favourite one is this. This is from Nick. Our son Nicholas was travelling to Australia. He was coming downstairs with a suitcase. Have you ever tried to do that? Carry a really heavy suitcase downstairs? Yes. He lost control. The case ran into our expensive pottery vase at the bottom of the stairs. We tried to replace it online, but it's not available. We're travelling to Yorkshire later in the year to try and find a new one.
There are vases available
no,
other
it
than
must
in
be a
Yorkshire,
special one.
a very specific one. Do get in touch this morning if you've ever broken anything in quite that way. Lots of vases, aren't there? It's always vases.
Vases and animals. Now, have you ever broken something valuable, Jon Kay? Yes.
Lots.
If so, you're going to know how an art collector in Miami is feeling after she accidentally knocked over a sculpture worth almost £35,000.
Imagine this artwork. It was smashed into tiny pieces. It was by the US pop artist Jeff Koons. Let's show you. So this is what it was meant to look like, used to look like, and now...
Yes.
That Blue Dog is rather smaller, shattered all over the floor. And it seems like a lot of you are as clumsy as that art dealer and as clumsy as me.
We have had some brilliant, brilliant stories from you this morning. This is from Brian. I once bought a very expensive watch and in a rush to show it off, I opened the box and put it straight on my wrist. As I walked to the bar, it slipped from my wrist and smashed into several pieces on the flagstone floor.
Oh, Brian. Denny's got in touch to say their son Ian was trying on his new kilt, stretched up his arm to check the sleeve length, hit the light fixture, which smashed down onto a glass coffee table and broke an 18th century crystal rose bowl. Everything was in pieces, and he ran out of the room calling, "But you always told me you love me more than things."
That's the best line
Everything
ever.
apart from the 18th century
I love it.
rose bowl.
You love me more than things. That's a great, great line. A really quick one from Ray. I was walking my dog, had to go into my local post office. Nothing else to tie her to. I used a metal advertising stand. Turned around, the dog had bolted, taking the metal stand with her. She was between cars, taking out several back lights. Never mind.
It's like some sort of movie, isn't it?